Hello everybody. So today we are going to talk about addiction. All right. What it is, how it comes up, how it gets developed and enforced, and how we can conquer it. All right. And why we should conquer it, right? I mean, why in the first place is it even worth getting rid of? Um, so my favorite basic definition of addiction is the condition of being habitually occupied with or involved in something. I like this definition because it goes beyond just the physical dependence on a substance. It's more specifically talking about the mind and how it gets habitually involved in something, because my perspective is that you can be addicted to anything. You could be addicted to maybe some positive things, some physical things, some non-physical things, drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex, whatever, food. And so the basic types of addiction, or rather the most common types of addiction, in my opinion, are alcohol, narcotics, gambling, sex, and food. While there are infinite more, these are the most common. If you have an addiction in other realms, I believe you will be able to relate this experience to what I will outline moving forward. All right. So first, I would like to talk about the acquisition of an addiction. Many people don't see, I think, how early addiction develops and the different forms that it can take. So when we're going through this, keep thinking back to perhaps the mental state that caused the first addiction and how that led into the second or third or fourth addiction. Perhaps it was something very, very simple. For me, I remember being in kindergarten and I was told that I was being a bad kid, and they brought me in front of the class and said, Ryan's been doing whatever. And I think that was, one of the first things that caused me to have a negative self-image that might have pushed me further in life into certain addictions. So think back to these things, and because they are important, they can be the building blocks, and we always want to get down to the core cause, the root cause, which is what I'm here talking about. So it can start at any point in life and will usually develop as the result of one of two things. This is just my personal, thoughts. Importantly, as we will get to later, it also generally comes with a set of mental conditions that will feed the creation of the addiction. All right. So number one, a positive experience, which causes a person to enjoy said activity, or a negative experience, number two, which causes a person to reach for a means of gaining positive feeling. We will associate that positive feeling, and then we will continue it because it is a source. And if we are somebody especially who has been feeling a lot of negative emotion throughout our life, which is very common in today's day and age because of all the different stressors out there that can cause you to become distracted from maybe what your purpose is, or confused as to what your purpose is. I think this is one of the roots of, for example, childhood nicotine addiction or teenage nicotine addiction, and many other things. So each of these causes, number one and two, is followed by the development of habit, and we must remember that almost all of our behavior is habitual. So all of the positive and negative habits are going to be developed through repetition. All right. The only other known cause of changing habit, either positively or negatively, is through a crisis of some sort. But often those crises are not predictable or controllable, thus meaning that repetition is the only reliable way to change a habit, or to change what we also might call a paradigm. All right. And we're going to talk a lot more about paradigm. Paradigm is really everything, when you think about personal growth. So once we have acquired an addiction, it has become part of our paradigm. So let us define paradigm. This is very closely related to how Bob Proctor or Napoleon Hill might define paradigm. A set of beliefs in the subconscious mind that control our habitual behavior, or nearly all of our habitual behavior. So now we can more easily contemplate the basic mechanism of addiction. We introduce a stimuli, positive or negative, and we start to consistently reach for that stimuli because it makes us feel a certain way, generally positive, at least in the short term. Because that repetition causes it to ingrain itself in our subconscious mind, and within that subconscious mind it creates a paradigm, our conscious mind has little control over changing that behavior. All right? Unless it is purposefully directed to the only known method of consistently changing a paradigm, which is repetition. All right? This is why we know the addiction is bad for us, yet we feel powerless to change it in any meaningful way. And often when we do make some positive changes, it comes back in a random or even ironic fashion. Because again, you need to focus on the paradigm We need to be taught how to change the paradigm, not just taught how to temporarily make changes, or we muster the power up for a day or 2 days or 3 days, then that paradigm comes in and hits us hard again, pushes us right back where we were. And I've been there many, many times, I tell you. So now let us get down to the root cause of addiction, and I believe that looking more at this root cause is going to help you acquire the strength to build a new idea, a new paradigm, because it is going to explain the core of it, which rests just beyond the mental activity, the physical dependence, etc. All right? I believe that ultimately addiction roots itself in a lack of defined purpose. It takes the pseudo place of purpose by giving the person something, a reward, etc., to focus on in life. The fact is that there are positive rewards and there are negative rewards. When motivated by a positive reward, or good, or whatever, positive is kind of a hard word to exactly explain, but I hope that as you watch, you will gain a feeling of what I'm meaning by it. When motivated by a positive reward, humans may accomplish great things, earn millions of dollars, and create a beautiful, admirable life for themselves. When motivated by negative reward, addiction in this case, it is important to know that humans may still accomplish great things, earn millions of dollars, and do many other things in their life, but will often destroy themselves in the process, leaving them unable to enjoy the fruits of their labor. This concept is described by Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. In Think and Grow Rich, he mentioned Edgar Allan Poe, for example, who, was known for taking opium and writing The Raven under the influence of liquor, right? So we're going to get much more deeply into this, talking about the mind stimulants and what that really means in the context of addiction, but let's keep going forward. So when contemplating purpose, I believe the best place to go is into the realm of stimulating the mind. For me personally, this is where my past addictions began, along with, self-image things. But despite an honorable intention in many ways, I ended up falling on my face. My honorable intention being to investigate the secrets of the mind, the secrets of the universe, so that I can bring them to people and share that information with people. All right. My past addictions have been narcotics, psychedelics, marijuana, and food. And for people that say psychedelics aren't addictive, they don't really understand the true meaning of addiction. They don't really understand where I'm taking it. So I urge you to not judge this in that way, but to listen, and perhaps you will gain something. All right. It isn't that I would take psychedelics habitually, but rather that I was looking for them to provide me with universal knowledge when I didn't need them to tap into infinite intelligence. An important side note for all of you out there thinking that that is a possible way for you to gain knowledge, right? You don't need that. There are safer, more effective, more powerful ways to stimulate the mind to high creative heights that will not destroy you in the long term. I really think that most addictions start from a positive force. Not all of them. And almost always they are ingrained with negative concepts of self-image, but I really do think the core of them start from a positive force. We have a desire for positive feeling, for knowledge, for peace, all right? When something as simple as sex, a drug, a food item, can provide those things to us at very little monetary cost, we start to habitually desire them. They can truly stimulate the mind to new heights, despite what others may say to the contrary. And this is mightily important, especially when thinking about how we need to teach addiction to kids, all right? Often kids are wrongfully told that there is nothing to be gained from addictive substances and addictive behaviors. They are not told the effective ways to raise their vibration with sustainable methods, and might even be plainly told that drugs are going to lower your vibration and such. As a result, when the natural human instinct comes in and desires a higher expression of spirit, people find that destructive stimulants are the only way that they have found to do such a thing, all right? And remember, when I talk about stimulant, I don't mean a drug that is a stimulant. I mean things that are going to raise your mind to a higher vibration. And psychedelics, drugs, sex, love, a lot of these things. And we're going to go through the 10 mind stimulants in a little bit here that are described in Think and Grow Rich. So let me be clear. Many of the addictive behaviors or substances are rooted in a source of truth, which is that your mind can be stepped up to higher levels of vibration and thought through these things, all right? Take, for example, the person who first had sex, right? They may perhaps have never known a better feeling, right? That feeling is a form of truth, a creative and high vibration feeling. Take the person who eats a delicious dessert, all right? They may very well find peace in that, and their mind may be stepped up to a high vibration through appreciation for humankind's ability to produce such a beautiful and tasty piece of food, right? Take the person who smokes marijuana for the first time. Their mind gets filled with positive feeling and raises to a high vibration, often resulting in creative efforts that might not have been realized otherwise. The list goes on. But let me be clear that this is not an endorsement of any of these addictions or substances in any form. Sure, perhaps for some people it is a necessary process of growth. That's something I've thought about. But my opinion would be that there are safer methods of raising your vibration that will not create negative addiction. All right? So back to Think and Grow Rich. What I've outlined above is essentially what Hill talked about in the chapter, The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. All right? Within that chapter, Hill described 10 mind stimuli that can raise the human mind to high levels of vibration. These are, and I quote, the desire for sex expression, love, a burning desire for fame, power, financial gain, money, music, friendship between either those of the same sex or those of the opposite sex, a mastermind alliance based upon the harmony of two or more people who ally themselves for spiritual or temporal advancement, mutual suffering, such as those experienced by people who are persecuted, autosuggestion, fear, narcotics, and alcohol. So those are the 10. Study these mind stimuli, all right? Remember them. This will build your mind so that you can start to notice the little ways in which addictions continue. When you can start to focus on the paradigm, or when you can start to focus on the positive ones, and I apologize for my cat, although he's pretty darn cute, you'd have to admit, you can start to build a paradigm or set of beliefs that can replace your old paradigm of needing addictive stimuli. So we're really talking about here, we have that desire. I'm talking about the root cause where it actually starts from a positive place of wanting to raise your vibration, right? So you reach for one of these negative stimulants. So what we're going to talk about moving forward here is how we can start to realize the power of these positive stimulants, which in my opinion are principally love and sex expression, which Hill also essentially said in the same chapter, sex expression being the most powerful, this raw primal desire when harnessed in a positive way, all right? And we're going to talk about what the transmutation actually means. So the theory I am putting forth is that addiction is rooted in a lack of purpose, and that we often reach towards these mind stimuli in either a conscious or unconscious pursuit of higher vibratory states so that we may gain information to further our purpose, not being aware of the destructive habit or paradigm being created when we utilize these addictions. When we can focus our minds on the positive sources of stimuli, or stimulus, I don't know what the correct verbiage there or whatever is, the principal ones being sex expression and love, we can start to build a new paradigm or set of habits that has the ability to create both a more sustainable form and a higher form of stimulus. So my advice for you, if you are struggling with an addiction, would be to focus your mind on one or more of the positive mind stimuli. Say for 5 minutes daily, it's a good place to start, and increase that up to 30 minutes or more at your own pace, and start to feel the positive emotions associated with such stimuli. It may take many sessions. It may take months. Who knows how long it's going to take? We're guessing at how long it would take. It may take many sessions to feel this energy because the addiction has clouded it so strongly, right? And so the deeper you are in this, the harder it's going to be to get out. But is it worth it, all right? It is worth it. You must have faith in what I have put forward here. You must know it to be true, and you must stick to it for it to be effective. I have quit at the first sight of fear, and I've lost faith a million times in my life. Don't lose the faith, okay? Utilize the faith, okay? And it will happen even more quickly than you could have ever imagined, all right? The more you harness that, the quicker it's going to happen, and the more rewarding it's going to be when it does happen, because you're going to start to see the effects of that faith in your life, and you're going to be able to utilize that into all the other aspects of life that you want to improve. If you do that, I promise that you will eventually feel that little tingle of magic, of stimuli, that same feeling you had when you first found the addiction, all right? The same thing that made you want to go back to it, except this time you will produce it yourself. You won't need anything except nature's own way of safely stimulating your mind. I know you can conquer that because I know that I am not special. And believe me, I have found myself in some of the darkest places you could possibly imagine. All right? It takes time, it takes commitment. It is up to you to decide if the sacrifice is worth it. I believe that it is worth everything. All right? And importantly, know that sex expression is not necessarily the physical expression. Actually, it is the spiritual expression of the energy of sex in every aspect of daily life. This is what makes great salesmen. This is what makes great orators, great public speakers. This is what makes great creatives, all right? Let me share with you a moving experience I recently had, which is undoubtedly a result of my harnessing the energy of sex and transmuting it into conversation. All right? I met an old woman recently who was just very beautiful, very, just the best, all right? And I was going to appraise some of her items for her to potentially sell. Hey, bud, how you doing? Sell at auction or sell online, right? And I just spent the time with her, and I knew that she just wanted that some sense of companionship, to be with somebody and to enjoy the presence of somebody, to feel heard, to feel understood for the pain that she'd gone through in life that I instantly picked up on. And wouldn't you know that by the end of that conversation, she had given me a beautiful gift that I will never forget. So thank you to that woman. And I didn't even really say much. All I did was sit there and I listened to her and I paid attention to her and I gave her that energy that she desired in a very positive and spiritual fashion, all right? All right. So for example, let's get to a way that you can actually, a tangible exercise that you can do to start feeling and harnessing this positive stimuli and to overtake the old paradigm of addiction to move into a new force. Take the desire for sex expression and love. Find a source of inspiration, such as a woman or man that you would desire to create a beautiful life with, a family, etc. I believe that's a super honorable, super relatable desire for all of us humans, because it is the most primal, Start to picture what that healthy desire would look like. Start to visualize yourself free of this addiction and being motivated by this beautiful source of stimulus. All right? Love and sex expression. Start to appreciate the learning experience the darkness has provided for you, and love it too. All right? Let it go. If you consistently hold these pictures in your mind and desire them, they will move into form. All right? You have the ability to place your thoughts on that higher frequency and stay there. Remember, it's going to be hard, especially when you're deeper in the depths of addiction, especially with narcotics, right? But I'm telling you, I've been there too, all right? Especially with weed. But, I haven't done harder drugs, but I know it's possible with those too. I know, all right? And you might have to take more drastic actions, right? And maybe I could help you with that. Oh, geez, sorry. These bugs are a little crazy. It may take time. It may even be frustrating, especially when beginning. But maintain faith that you can do it. Maintain faith that with consistent application of these principles, you are able to conquer whatever it is that you are dealing with. All right? I'm Ryan Sweeney. Thank you for joining me here today. I hope you gained something from it. All right? Goodbye.